Assalamu alaikum. So NVDA reported their earning today after the bell at little after 4 p.m. And as expected, I'm not sure if market was expecting NVIDIA to not beat the earnings or maybe fall short on earnings, but NVIDIA had an earning beat $4 billion more than the market was expecting. Also, the outlook was great. They said that their expectation, they might be able to beat their own expectation in the next quarter, which is the fourth quarter of the year. Also, their balance sheet looks great. They have little over $60 billion in the balance sheet. The account receivable is a little bit higher, which is roughly about $10 billion in account receivable, but it's a $60 billion balance sheet, so that $10 billion doesn't make a big difference to NVIDIA. Even if they don't receive any cash in the next 2 months, that will not have any impact on NVIDIA whatsoever. They also said that they have sold out on their GPUs, which shows that the AI demand is there. And as I always say, that NVIDIA is 10 years ahead of the other companies, just like Tesla. That's like new Tesla of AI chips. Their Blackwell chip is also doing very well and is pretty much sold out. They also mentioned one thing very interesting, because lots of people are of the opinion that when Google was doing some of the production, I forgot what it was, but I read a long time ago, few days ago, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, that Google was able to function without NVIDIA's chips. So everybody thought, oh, well, maybe that's bullish for NVIDIA. But NVIDIA CEO said that the customers who went around and tested other chip manufacturers' products and they're returning back, the ratio is increasing every single day. More people are coming back to NVIDIA after testing and trying other manufacturers' products, which is a good sign. That shows that nobody else can beat NVIDIA chips. They are obviously, the chips may be a little bit more expensive, but all these large companies can very well afford those, and in the long run they probably get more benefit out of this. It's like when DeepSeek was announced. Of course, NVIDIA had a dip because everybody thought, because China is a pro of making a copy of everything, so everybody thought that, oh my God, China is going to come up with a cheaper AI chips, which is going to have NVIDIA business kind of slump. But that's not what we see. Of course, maybe some companies who have lower cash flow, they're not doing as well, they're not as big, they might utilize DeepSeek AI's chips, because they're cost effective compared to obviously NVIDIA chips. But all these large companies, I'm sure they'll most likely prefer NVIDIA chips, because it's going to do a better job for them in the long run, and people don't want to keep going back and re-spending money on something that they've already bought more often than they have to. So that's the other reason why NVIDIA stock did well and their revenue was increased. Their revenue was $60 billion year over year. It's like $60 billion more than what they had last year, same quarter. That's pathetic. That's crazy. They're keeping at least 55% of the profit in their pocket. That is because the business is amazing. They're not producing the chips, they're just a chip designer, and then they send it to Taiwan Semiconductor and they produce the chips. So that's why their cost is so low, because they're not spending any money on producing these chips, they're only designing those chips. Their business model is just phenomenal, and they're ahead of the game, obviously, and that's what's making this company so successful. Also, Wang is a very good salesman. He knows how to sell his products and services. Overall, in the conference call, I wasn't able to listen to the whole thing, but listened to a little bit of it, bits and pieces. Everything seemed pretty bullish and positive, and it looked like he knows what he's doing. The team knows what they're doing, and they're very bullish. They're saying that they will be able to beat their own expectation in the next quarter. More people are coming back to NVIDIA after testing and trying. The outlook was great. Balance sheet looks amazing, because I'm an accountant, so I always look at the balance sheet of these big companies to make sure that the pricing power is there, make sure that they have enough cash in hand. I was a little concerned about their, as I said, accounts receivable. But if I look at the balance sheet, it's over $60 billion in cash. That $10 billion is not going to have a big impact on NVIDIA's balance sheet. at least in the short term. Now, what's going to happen in the stock market tomorrow? So there were lots of bearish catalysts. One of them was NVIDIA's earning, of course, as I mentioned in my last video, which I made yesterday, or the day before yesterday. I said that the market is down because everybody is waiting, especially tech stocks are waiting for NVIDIA's earning. If the NVIDIA's earning come positive, that's going to have a buying pressure on all the tech stocks. And as soon as NVIDIA's earning came out, all the tech stocks started rising. Tesla went up, NVIDIA, of course, went up, Palantir rose, Micron went up, AMD went up, like you name it, all those tech stocks are doing very well in after hour. NVIDIA also went up quite a bit to $198 and change. I feel like there's a small resistance at $198, I think 50 cents or 52 cents along those lines. Once it crosses that, I think we're gonna go next all-time high tomorrow. Now the big question is NVIDIA gonna do well tomorrow, and all the stocks, the tech stocks, are going to run tomorrow? They should technically. However, I also think that these big, large ETF managers and hedge fund managers, they may be willing to take some profits tomorrow because NVIDIA had obviously gone down good 20% from its all-time high, which was I think $115 or $114 sorry, $214. But now, since the earnings tomorrow morning, if the stock crosses 200, which if it crosses $198.52, I believe it is, then it's gonna go over $200. And at that point, I think some of the fund managers might want to take some profit. If we don't have a profit taking, I think this stock is gonna skyrocketing. But if people start taking profits, especially the fund managers, because they shed a large chunk, that could have some downward pressure on stock. But that doesn't mean stock's not going to do well. My price prediction for NVIDIA, as you guys know, it's still $240 to $245 towards the end of the year. If I logically price this stock with the future prospects that they have and whatever they have going on in their pipeline, I think it's a $300 stock. But I'm not saying in the short term it's going to go to $300. Maybe 12 months from now, we could predict this could go to $300. But at least for the year end, I think 240 to 245 is my price target, or at least we'll get very close to that. But I'm still sticking with $240 because I have full faith in NVIDIA, and I think NVIDIA is a great company. The CEO is a great salesman. Their team is doing well, and they are ahead of the game, just like Tesla. They're 10, 15 years ahead of all the other companies. Other companies could produce these chips, but it's going to take them 15 years to catch up to them, which is why this company has an edge over all the other AI companies. All those people who think that we're in an AI bubble, we're not an AI bubble. AI is just getting started. As Dan, I've said, it's only 10 p.m. and we have to go until the party will go on until 4 o'clock in the morning. And I totally believe that, because if you go and walk around and ask common man, they can't even define what AI is. And this time and age, if you read a couple books on AI, you're probably a pro, because everybody else sucks that much. So if you think that we're in an AI bubble, you're obviously smoking something different, because by the time people understand what AI is, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a while, at least 5 years. I know things progress really quick these days, but I still think that a common man, a layman, doesn't understand what exactly it means, what AI does, what are the usage of AI. Even some of the big companies and their CEOs and CFOs, they probably don't understand exactly where to use these products, but only the very tech-savvy people probably do understand, and those are the ones who are using them in their day-to-day life, at least to some extent, not 100%. As Elon Musk said, that 20 years from now, whether you want to work or not is going to be a choice, because everything is going to be taken over by AI, which will be, I don't know what I would be doing at that time, because I know I'll be very old. But those who are young, when I look at my children, I feel like, oh my God, if 20 years from now it's going to be their choice whether they want to work or not, what will they be doing? They'll be just dying slowly. I hope it doesn't happen, because work keeps us alive. When we're busy, we stay alive, and we just done, then we slowly, gradually start dying. Anyways, that was just on a side note. The other bearish catalyst we have is December 9th, FOMC meeting. So those of you who troll me when I speak about Trump, I have nothing against him or in favor of him. I try to give very non-biased opinion. I try to stay as neutral as I can. And I have to say, I don't know if this guy understands economy, and I don't know if this guy understands how the nations work and countries work. I don't know if his financial advisors or his economic advisors even give him an advice and tell him that whatever he's doing is going to have a worse impact on the economy, not only in the short run, but also in the long run. So he announced that he's not going to not only then not release October data, he's also going to the job report, the labor market report. He's also going to delay the November labor market data until after the next Fed meeting. Pathetic, isn't it? I can guarantee you we had the shittiest data in October, and that's probably why he doesn't want to release it. And of course, Jerome Powell said, I'm data dependent, and he gave us a very clear indication in his minutes. If you Google it, you can see it, that he said if there's no data, I'm not sure what to decide whether I'm going to do a rate cut or not, because he's reluctant to cut rates because he doesn't have any information based off of which he can make a decision. So one would think if you're not releasing the October data, at least you should hurry up to release November data, the labor market report, before the next Fed meeting so they can look at the information, look at the report, and at least they can decide wisely which direction they should move. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why market was panicked this morning. I mean, in the morning it was doing fine, but then there was a bloodbath in the afternoon because once they saw that Donald Trump has refused to release the reports, obviously it had a concern with it had concerned the investors and the stock market, and that's where the market was down. So now tomorrow, if you don't have profit taking, I think market should be fine. NVIDIA should cross $200. If the fund managers and hedge fund managers and even the retailers, if they decide to take profit tomorrow morning, then we're going to see some red on NVIDIA. Now, the question also arises whether good report for earning report for NVIDIA is good enough for the stock market. I would think so. I think this report was pretty good. They had beat across the board. They had great outlook. They said they're sold out. They said they're going to beat their own expectations. I mean, what else could you guys ask for? So in my opinion, if I was a fund manager, if I was an analyst, I would actually raise the price target for NVIDIA. Actually, I forgot which bank it was. One of the analysts of a bank raised their price target from $210 to $230, which is pretty close to what my expectation is from NVIDIA. So only one of them raised. I wish I remember who the bank was, but anyways, one of the analysts did raise their price target. But tomorrow after the earning report, if I was one of the analysts, I would have definitely raised the price target, and I would have hoped that this stock is going to do well because the demand is still there, and they have good team and they have good salesman working for them, which is their CEO. And I think NVIDIA should do well, but who knows? Everybody has their own mind. Plus, towards the end of the year, most of the hedge funds, the fund managers, ETF managers, they try to take some profit because they want to lock in the gains since they have to look good in front of their clients. People like you and I, we don't have clients, so we don't have to worry about them. So we can hold on to the stocks for the longer term to get the maximized gain. And we don't have to report to anybody towards the end of the year. So it kind of makes it easier for retailers. But the fund managers, they obviously have to keep everybody happy. So sometimes they make decisions which they don't want to, but they have to kind of. Anyways, now I'm looking towards the December FOMC meeting. Maybe Trump will change his mind. Somebody will tell him that at least release the labor market data before the next meeting, if not October, at least for November. But it's so hard to convince this guy. He's a baby, he's a stubborn little baby. He never grew up. You can, say whatever you want to. I don't care. But this guy, it's like a complete idiot. I'm sorry, and he's not my president. No, I'm not calling my president idiot. I'm calling your president idiot because I never voted for this guy. Anyways, And my job is to piss everybody off anyway. I don't mind pissing people off if I have to state the facts, and I am stating the facts. So if our during FOMC meeting, which is a couple weeks away, I know next week is going to be a shorter week because of Thanksgiving, and then everybody looks forward to December. If Jerome Powell cuts rates, then of course we're going to see green bullish in the market. But at least we have one hurdle away. All the tech stocks should go fine tomorrow. If there's profit taking, it will take short-term pullback, sell down pressure, but then it will do fine eventually. Even Bitcoin was trying to go over $90,000. You guys know my feelings about Bitcoin. I feel like it's a very expensive digital asset, and I'm not going to get into Bitcoin until I know where the price lands. And the other reason why I'm so nervous about buying Bitcoin is because of the micro strategy. They're holding a large amount of Bitcoin, and if they dump, it's going to put everybody in crisis in the short term at least. And I don't have that much money to dollar cost average such an expensive digital asset. So that's why I'm reluctant to buy it now. But if you have the money, I think DCAing is not a bad option. In the long term, you'll be better off. Not a personalized financial advice, of course. Also, when I was listening to the conference call of NVIDIA, I kind of got a hint that Michael Burry was talking nonsense about NVIDIA. I think Jensen Huang kind of addressed him, stating that don't think that we're not doing well. Basically, middle finger to Michael Burry. Of course, he didn't say that. I'm saying it. I'm just bad, but. So it kind of shows that those of you who are trying to be bearish about NVIDIA and about AI, they have no clue what they're talking about. I don't completely understand what AI is. I don't think anybody does. But I at least understand enough to know that we're definitely not in a bubble yet. Yes, there were some companies, they would just put AI next to their ticker symbol anytime, and those companies would run. But yeah, those companies don't have real reasonable products that they're selling or the services. Those companies, sure, they could collapse, but not something like NVIDIA, Palantir. Palantir I have concern about because it's very highly valued. And if you watch my videos, you know that I've been saying it for a while now, and you can tell the people have realized, and that momentum is kind of dying down now. People have realized that the price is too high and it needs to kind of cool off a little bit. And those of us who are waiting on the sideline to buy Palantir, I think is going to give us a buy the dip opportunity. I'm not ready to jump in right now because I think the valuation is still very high. Ideally, I would buy it if it goes down to $60, but I'm not sure if it would go down there. But even below 100, I think will be my best bet to buy. And if it doesn't drop that much, then I'll wait to see for the next big news, which kind of can justify the valuation that it has right now in order for me to jump in. But if I don't see that, then it's just not meant to be for me. That's how I'm going to play. That's that. I hope this video helps. Oh, I also wanted to talk about the housing market crash. But we don't have a housing market crash, but we have a shortage of housing. And I did mention it yesterday in my video, but I read some more reports this morning which said that it's going to, like, certain areas in the country, it's going to take them a couple years to catch up to the housing market shortage to like rental shortage, and the single family homes. Some states is going to take them 3 years. For some states it's going to take them 5 years. The other states, they have no time frame. So we are in housing shortage crisis right now. Now the question would arise that if inflation is high and people are losing jobs, if the job data is so bad that Trump is hiding, why don't we see any house foreclosures in the market? And the reason being is because people had gotten very, very low interest rate right after COVID. Some people have under 3%, some people have under 4%, and some people have under 5%. So about 70% of people have interest rate 5% or under, which is a big chunk, which means more people can afford those payments, and that's how they're managing it somehow. Also, people have very high equity in their homes because the valuation was so high. The prices of the housing has gone up so much. So some people are probably borrowing home equity line of credit on their homes, and that's how they're surviving. They're making the payments because now they have extra cash. Whether it's a good strategy or not, we can make a separate video on this, but at least in the short term, it's helping, and that's why we don't see that many foreclosures in the market. But if the economy keeps going the way it is going, I think that's going to have a bigger housing market crash, and lots of people are going to be forced out of their houses. In the meanwhile, we are building new homes for the new homeowners to occupy those new homes. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. But on that note, I'll take your leave. Please be careful, be safe. Don't invest the money that you're not willing to lose. Please do your own due diligence before you jump into the market. Don't follow my direction. I'm just a YouTuber. I do this for fun. I try to give you the best honest advice that I can and my perspective, but I'm not the expert. I have no authority to tell people what to do. I just tell you what I would be doing and what I expect from the market. Until next one, take care and peace out.